Welcome to the Nevis newscast for Thursday, June 4th, 2020. I'm Freddie Salibird. At the invitation of the government of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Caribbean community has fielded a CARICOM election observation mission to monitor the general elections, which will be held on Friday, June 5th, 2020. The three-member mission is headed by Jasper Jean-Baptiste, Chief Elections Officer of St. Lucia. The other members of the mission are His Excellency Arlie Gill of Grenada and Chester Arlington Humphrey, also of Grenada. The CARICOM Election Observation Mission proposes to meet with the electoral officials, leaders of political parties, and other stakeholders of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and will monitor the voting process, including the opening of the poll, the casting of the votes, the closing of the poll, and the counting of the ballots. The members of the observation mission arrived in St. Kitts and Nevis on Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020, and will depart on Sunday, June 7th, 2020. The election observation mission will issue a preliminary statement based on its observations and findings. A report on the general elections will be subsequently prepared and submitted to the Secretary General of the Caribbean Community. For CARICOM, election observation serves as a platform to support existing democratic traditions within the Caribbean community as part of its wider policy of supporting democracy and good governance. In this regard, at the request of the government of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the CARICOM Secretariat conducted virtual training in election observation for a group of local election observers. A press release from the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service states that to facilitate preparations for polling day on June 5th, 2020, and the ballot count thereafter, Statutory Rules and Orders SRO 19 of 2020 under the Emergency Powers COVID-19 No. 8 regulations have been amended to lift the nightly curfew on Thursday, June 4th, Friday, June 5th, and Saturday, June 6th, 2020. The nightly curfew will be reinstated on Sunday, June 7th, 2020 at 7:01 p.m. until 4:59 a.m. on Monday, June 8th, 2020. The nightly curfews from Monday to Friday run from 8:01 p.m. to 4:59 a.m. of the following day, and on Saturdays and Sundays they run from 7:01 p.m. to 4:59 a.m. of the following day. Supervisor of Elections Elvin Bailey says the police will be asked to strictly enforce the regulations under the National Assembly Elections Act as voters go to the polls on Friday, June 5th to choose a new government of St. Kitts and Nevis.
The polls will be available for voting continuously from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Any and all persons who are in line at 6 p.m. will be allowed to vote, but no one will be allowed to join the line after 6 p.m.
The Supervisor of Elections is urging voters to pay special attention to the instructions of the presiding officers so the voting process can flow smoothly and expeditiously.
While voting, if you feel that your ballot is not properly marked or is spoiled, please return it to the presiding officer and request another. The legislation allows for this. Voters who require assistance can request such assistance. That voter can have another voter of the same polling station make the mark for them behind the booth, or can request that the presiding officer, in the full view of the party agents and poll clerk, make the mark on behalf of the voter. An oath of incapacity must be taken by the incapacitated voter, and a voter may only assist one such voter and none other. Voters will be asked not to take their cell phones or cameras into the voting area. In fact, a container will be provided in which the voter will be asked to deposit their phones. I need to emphasize that voting is not complete until the appropriate finger is dipped in the ink to the satisfaction of the presiding officer.
More than 48,036 persons will have the opportunity to vote. The list of 129 polling stations across the Federation can be found on the Nevis Television Facebook page. As noted by the Supervisor of Elections, no one is allowed within 100 yards of the polling sites other than electoral officials, candidates and their credentialed agents, Election Commission members, and observers.
I remind you that candidates are only allowed access to polling stations within the constituency that he or she is contesting. However, they, by law, can only remain within the voting station together with their agent for 5 minutes maximum, and then one of them will be required to leave. Voters are also not allowed to loiter in the polling station. You must leave immediately after casting your vote. Also note that it is an offense to display political paraphernalia on voting day.
A CARICOM electoral observation mission is in the Federation to observe the elections. In an address on May 22, 2020, Bailey indicated that the elections will also be observed by local observers, the Christian Council, Evangelical Association, and the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Still to come, Minister Amory joins faith-based community to ask for God's protection during hurricane season. The details right after this break.
Did you know, under Section 104, subsection 1 of the National Assembly Elections Act, during polling hours, all licenses issued under the Liquor License Act are suspended? And also, did you know, pursuant to Section 95, subsection 1 of the same Principal Act, 12 months after an election, the ballots should be burnt? I am Maureen Knight, Vice President of the St. Kitts National Youth Parliament Association, encouraging all registered voters to get accustomed to the National Assembly Elections Act and also go out to vote on June 5th.
Welcome back. Minister of Ecclesiastical Affairs, the Honorable Vance Amory, joined with members of the faith-based community on Monday, June 1st, to seek God's protection for the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. The senior minister participated in the virtual ecumenical service, which was coordinated by and featured participation from the Christian councils and evangelical associations in St. Kitts and in Nevis. The service featured praise and worship, scripture readings, and presentations from various religious institutions.
I want to thank again the Christian councils and the Evangelical Association and the pastors who have put this service together and who are conducting this service for enabling us as a people to join together to intercede, Almighty God, to protect us during this storm.
Amory noted that the Federation's residents have a responsibility to protect themselves.
I want to also admonish us as citizens and residents to heed the instructions and the guidance of the National Emergency Management Agency in St. Kitts, an agency of the government which deals with disaster management or seeking to put things in place to enable us to prepare ourselves to guard against any hurricane or storm. I also wish to ask the people of Nevis to adhere to the instructions which should be given by the Nevis Disaster Management Department, which will seek to give similar instructions and guidance. I think we would like to know that the instructions they give will be to help us to prepare to protect our property, protect our livestock, to protect life and limb in case of any impact of any storm.
The Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology, in its experimental forecast for the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season, has predicted 8 to 21 named storms. From May 27th to June 17th, 2020, the Alliance Française of St. Kitts and Nevis is organizing a stay-home edition of its French singing competition in the COVID-19 context. This initiative aims to provide an opportunity to engage in a fun and pedagogical activity while most social and cultural activities are limited. This is a way to use language, culture, and a positive initiative to lift us up in this crisis. All residents of St. Kitts and Nevis can apply to participate in the competition. The three categories are children, individuals between 4 and 10 years old, adolescents, individuals between 11 and 17 years old, and adults, individuals 18 years and older. The registration for participants is free. A list of 3 French songs have been selected, and a 4-member jury will evaluate the interpretation of the song, rhythm, and French pronunciation. The steps to participate include making a video recording of your entry and sending it via email to culture.afskn@gmail.com by Wednesday, June 10th. The 3 best contestants in each category will participate in the finale at 7 p.m. on June 17th via Zoom private session. The prizes for the top 3 winners of the competition are oriented to support the participants by providing cash and vouchers for essential products. That's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I'm Freddie Sealibird. Thank you for viewing.
Hi everyone, my name is Naila Daniel and I have a very important message for you. Be safe, protect yourself and others, and practice social distancing.
Stay updated by following the Health Promotion Unit on Facebook and Instagram, or contact us at 469-8010.